Later in the imperial city of Ning, Mu Yun and Anji expressed their amazement at the city's prosperity, surpassing even the capital of Jiang. However, Anji senses danger, and soon they find themselves surrounded by a group of adversaries. One of the assailants addresses Yi Xian, deducing his identity and stating that his head is worth a significant reward. In response, Yi Xian swiftly beheads the assailant, coldly remarking that his head is worth more than theirs. The rest of the group exclaims in surprise, realizing that Yi Xian is a formidable great sword cultivator. Yi Xian declares that he will show no mercy to those who stand in his way, and he proves his words by swiftly eliminating the attackers. Witnessing this, the observing civilians panic at the sight of Yi Xian's ruthless display. Concerned, Yi Xian's comrades, particularly Anji and Mu Yun, point out the unnecessary need to kill them all. They speculate that the attackers may have been there for amusement rather than an actual threat. Responding menacingly, Yi Xian insists that all of them must die as long as they are Kangmu Academy's lackeys. Anji gazes at Yi Xian's back with concern, wondering if he is still the kind-hearted Yi Xian they once knew. As they continue their journey in the country of Ning, a man steps forward, cautioning Yi Xian that this is not Jiang, and he cannot do as he pleases here. Yi Xian remains resolute, emphasizing that anyone obstructing his path will meet their end. Undeterred, the man decides to challenge Yi Xian, attempting to throw a punch. His confidence wanes quickly, but regret was already too late. With blood spattered on his face, Yi Xian calmly states that his only purpose is to take his sister home. Anyone who dares to stop him will pay with their life. In a sudden turn of events, an arrow is shot towards Yi Xian, but he deftly dodges it. Facing the assailant responsible for the arrow, Yi Xian strikes without hesitation. However, his attack merely destroys a nearby building, leaving the assailant unscathed. The chaotic scene causes bystanders to hurriedly flee, considering Yi Xian a dangerous and unpredictable individual. An elder steps forward to confront Yi Xian, criticizing him for his reckless actions and reminding him that the great kingdom of Ning is no place for such wild behavior. Unveiling himself as Gensi from the Kangmu Academy, the elder asserts that he will teach Yi Xian a lesson. Upon hearing the elder's affiliation with the Kangmu Academy, Yi Xian categorizes Gensi as one of their lackeys. Yi Xian smirks menacingly, his sword ready as he declares his intent to send Gensi to his demise. With his domineering giant avatar on his back, Gensi attempts to defend Yi Xian's ultimate move. However, just as the sword closes in on his face, Gensi immediately regrets his decision, realizing that Yi Xian is already beyond a great sword cultivator. His decision is already irreversible as the gigantic sword falls on him, leading to his demise, which was witnessed by the remaining enemies along with the bystanders who react in awe, acknowledging Yi Xian's ability to defeat a powerful opponent in the psionic realm with a single move, while some even refer to him as a demon. Challenging the remaining enemies, Yi Xian menacingly questions if anyone else desires to challenge him. The enemies quickly retreat, running for their lives. With his mind clouded by a burning desire for revenge, Yi Xian tries to chase after the enemies. Anji, however, remains level-headed amidst the chaos, recognizing the urgency of their mission to reach the secret world and save Linger. A fierce determination ignites in Yi Xian's eyes, a mix of vengeance and concern for Linger's safety. Anji realizes that if anything happens to Linger, Yi Xian's sanity may slip away, leading to unimaginable consequences. Summoning her own resolve, Anji is determined to keep Yi Xian from acting impulsively once they enter the secret realm. As they climb the stairs of the mountain range of Ning, Anji urges Yi Xian to eat, but he dismisses the idea disapprovingly. Not backing down, Anji points out that he needs energy since he is not made of steel. Suddenly, Bai Zhe senses something is amiss. Curiosity piqued, Mu Yun inquires about Bai Zhe's concern, and it's revealed that a group of people are already ahead of them. Anji deduces that Xian Kang's forces are already lying in wait for them, intent on thwarting their mission. Despite the danger, Yi Xian remains confident, declaring that he will handle the attackers, while the rest should manage the other aspects. Undeterred, Yi Xian charges forward, ready to confront any threat that comes his way despite Anji and Mu Yun's advice against recklessness. However, as a barrage of poison arrows hurtles toward them, Anji realizes the grave danger they face, urging the others to prevent Yi Xian from walking into a deadly trap. As Bai Zhe makes contact with the arrows, he advises the rest to be careful as the arrows are laced with poison. After managing to deflect the arrows, Bai Zhe and Mu Yun voice their dislike for Kong Mu's despicable methods. Anji on the other hand urges the rest to press on, knowing that Yi Xian is already heading there alone. Upon reaching the summit, the group discovers the lifeless bodies of the enemies who had attacked them earlier. Anji reflects on how these individuals had a chance at a good life, but their foolish decision to mess with someone fiercely protective of his sister led to their own demise. Bai Zhe agrees, remarking that they brought their fate upon themselves and thus don't deserve to live. Their focus shifts to the portal, concluding that Yi Xian has already entered the portal. Anji swiftly takes charge, assigning tasks to others. Bai Zhe will shield Yi Xian from arrows with his formidable body, Mu Yun will use his speed to search for Linger, and Anji will contact her grandfather for much-needed reinforcements. Observing from the high ground, we see a familiar figure looking down upon the unfolding events. As Yi Xian and his group rush to save his sister, the observer questions the righteousness of his actions. Knowing the futility of his mission, the figure ponders whether it's an act of bravery or simply foolishness. As Tuba Yan's face is revealed, standing alongside her is an old man, whose response carries a tone of disapproval. He refers to Yi Xian's actions as stupid, pointing out that Yi Xian's talent is second only to An Longxiu in the Jiang Kingdom. The old man laments that if Yi Xian had not embarked on this perilous mission, he could have had the potential to lead a future overthrow of the Kongmu Academy. Instead, he has chosen a path that might lead to his own demise. As the old man comments on Yi Xian's actions, an old woman interjects, disagreeing with the old man's assessment, and boldly suggesting that the old man is instead the stupid one. Addressing Tuba Yan respectfully as Your Highness, the old woman expresses her opinion about Yi Xian, considering him to be a man of great affection and righteousness, and she extols him as a true man. Upon hearing the old woman's words, the old man reacts with disapproval, making an angry sound as he stares in her direction. Meanwhile, Tuba Yan, with a face that appears to be rosy from blushing or just from her natural beauty, concludes that Yi Xian's potential sacrifice might be in vain. In response to Tuba Yan's concerns, the old lady asserts that whether it's a sacrifice or not, what matters most is that Yi Xian's sister will die if he doesn't come to her aid. She implies that even if he achieves great heights as a sword immortal in the future, he would still be perceived as a coward for not acting now. Tuba Yan agrees with the old woman's perspective, closing her eyes and smiling. She further emphasizes that if Yi Xian doesn't come today, his future achievements as a sword immortal would mean nothing to her, as he will be a man whom she wouldn't be able to look at with respect. Her words could also be implied that Yi Xian will not be a man worthy of her if he didn't come today. Following the scene, one of Tuba Yan's subordinates rushes to relay a report about Xian Kang's inquiry on why they did not follow the plan to send men to surround and kill Yi Xian. Tuba Yan responds firmly, instructing the messenger to tell Xian Kang to get lost. The messenger acknowledges her order, though clearly surprised. Meanwhile, inside the portal, Yi Xian ponders if he has entered the so-called secret realm, a space separated from the outside world by a mysterious method. He wonders if Linger might be present in this place. At that very moment, a man calls out to Yi Xian, charging towards him with the clear intention of taking his life. Unfazed, Yi Xian swiftly slashes at his assailant, confidently declaring that the man is not good enough. The assailant is left in disbelief as his body is split in two. Observing his fallen enemy, Yi Xian remarks that even the peak of the sky realm is no match for him. However, as he looks at his trembling hand, Yi Xian realizes that his recent opponent didn't use his full strength. Reflecting on the fight, he concludes that if his future enemies fight him with all their might, he might risk death or severe injury unless he utilizes his earth armor. In the midst of this realization, another assailant emerges from the river, eager to confront Yi Xian. With a cold tone, Yi Xian remarks on the eagerness of all his enemies to offer up their heads. The new assailant launches a powerful attack, but Yi Xian deftly dodges it. Closing in on Yi Xian, the assailant manages to land a blow on his chest. With a sadistic tone, the assailant mockingly mentions that he heard Yi Xian knew that the place was a death trap, yet he still rushed in. He claims to respect Yi Xian as a man, and thus decided to make his death as painful as possible. Undeterred, Yi Xian smiles at his enemy, noting the similarity in their intentions. Following the intense battle, Yi Xian threw his sword, leading his enemy to dismiss the attack as a mere sword intent. In that brief moment when his enemy's guard was down, Yi Xian took advantage and leaped into the air, delivering a powerful punch that forced the foe to admit his defeat. However, with a swift and deadly swing of his leg, Yi Xian decapitated his opponent, remarking that it was already too late to regret his decision. Standing over the fallen figure, Yi Xian mused on the guy's decision, acknowledging that there is a path to heaven, but the guy didn't take it. Instead, he chose the path to hell. Just as the leaves fall to the ground, a heartfelt cry of someone broke through the air, calling out for her brother. Yi Xian, startled by the voice, frantically called out his sister's name, assuming it was her. However, to his surprise, the girl in front of him was not his sister. With her gaze fixed on Yi Xian, the girl declared her intent to kill him. Recognizing her dangerous determination, Yi Xian swiftly created a shield around himself, causing the girl to be deflected and land near her brother's lifeless body at the river's edge. As the girl kneels in front of her fallen brother, Yi Xian trembles with frustration, scolding the girl for venturing to such a dangerous place without the strength to protect herself and questioning whether she was out of her mind. With tears in her eyes mixed with cherished memories of their shared past, the girl revealed that her brother had convinced her that killing Yi Xian would free them from their struggles and somehow revive their family. Clutching her brother's lifeless hand, she voiced her sole desire to return home to Dian with her brother. Hearing this, Yi Xian lifted the girl, remarking that there were countless ways to change their circumstances, but her brother had chosen the most foolish one, referring to him as ignorant. In response, the girl meekly defended her brother, insisting that he was always right and forbidding Yi Xian from speaking ill of him. Reflecting on her words, Yi Xian turns his back towards the girl, expressing admiration for her loyalty as a sister and acknowledging that he also has a good sister like her. Seemingly regaining his sanity, Yi Xian tosses her a bag of coins and states that it should be enough for her to return to Dayun. However, he adds that reviving her family would require much more profound cultivation, which she currently lacks. Furthermore, Yi Xian points out that since he has killed her brother, she may seek revenge in the future if she becomes strong enough, and he will be waiting for her. With nothing else to say to the girl, Yi Xian moves on to another portal, leading to another location where he finds his unconscious sister, guarded by Gon Shizhen, a student from the Kangmu Academy of the Great Cloud Empire branch. In an attempt to be cordial, Shizhen greets Yi Xian with pleasantries for meeting him in Qizhou, but Yi Xian isn't in the mood for pleasantries. Seeing Shizhen too close to Yi Ling, Yi Xian unleashes a Qi slash, demanding that he stays away from his sister and barely missing Shizhen. Unfazed, Shizhen comments on the beauty of Yi Ling and expresses regret that Yi Xian has ruined the fun. With his qi-infused hand, Shizhen summons a beam of light to the sky, materializing a gigantic finger of qi descending from above. Yi Xian raises his sword, directing a counterattack. Despite the immense pressure from the descending finger, Yi Xian manages to endure thanks to his tested tenacity. Shizhen is astonished by Yi Xian's survival, unable to believe that someone was able to survive his magic finger. Seizing the opportunity, Yi Xian charges at him with his sword, revealing that Yi Xian is already at the level of a sword master. However, it was already too late for Shizhen to realize as Yi Xian immediately follows up with a punch to his gut, penetrating him deep inside, if you know what I mean. With everything settled, Yi Xian approaches Yi Ling. However, in a sudden and painful jolt, a drop of blood launches from his heart, leaving him in minor pain. As Yi Xian examines the red dot on his chest, Anji and the others arrive, informing Yi Xian that it's the dreaded Blood Soul Pursuit Order, a mark that spells life or death in the dark world of assassination organizations. Being marked means becoming an enemy of that world, attracting countless relentless killers. Despite this, Mu Yun assures Yi Xian that Kanglin Academy fears no one, a sentiment echoed by Bai Zhe. Just as they think things are settling down, the lady from before reappears, demanding that Yi Xian hand over his sister to her. A tense moment unfolds as they stare at each other. One seems to be waiting for a response while the other seems to be questioning the situation. Interrupting the standoff, Mu Yun interjects, questioning the identity of the person he considers a little girl. In response, the girl nonchalantly sends Mu Yun flying to the ground with a simple gesture. Seemingly unbothered by Mu Yun's situation, Yi Xian remembers that the girl was the one who gave the Jade of Fire to Linger. Now with a firm voice, the girl demands Yi Xian to hand over his sister. Yi Xian, however, firmly states that it's impossible, as Ling must stay with him for the rest of her life. A fitting response from a sis Khan. In response, the girl questions Yi Xian's ability to protect his sister and asks whether his life is truly that valuable. She points out that although there might not be many individuals who have reached the cultivation level of the 10,000 Dharma realm in the Kangmu Academy of the Great Cloud Empire, it would still be easy for them to send 10 or 20 of those highly skilled people to kill him. Additionally, she warns him about the Dark World, a group of assassins who have succeeded in assassinating even those at the peak of the 10,000 Dharma realm. In an effort to strengthen her argument, the girl points out that Yi Xian is now surrounded by many enemies, each seeking revenge on him. She insists that if Yi Ling stays with him, it would put her life in danger. However, if Yi Ling goes with her, the Northern Cold Sect will be able to protect her. Upon hearing this, Yi Ling expresses her decision to follow the girl, surprising Yi Xian and the others. Anji reminds her of how her brother risked his life to save her, and yet she's considering leaving with someone else. Mu Yun also tries to dissuade her from her decision. Yi Xian, however, inquires if she truly wants to go with the girl. Yi Ling responds that she doesn't want to be a burden to her brother and make him worry all the time. She wishes to become stronger. With mixed emotions on his face, Yi Xian acknowledges that she has grown up and tells his sister not to cry. He agrees to let her go if that's what she wants. However, he instructs her to send him a message if she ever faces danger in the future, as he will come to help her. Yi Ling understands and accepts his advice. Turning to the girl, Yi Xian describes his sister as soft, weak, and not skilled in combat. He expresses his concern that she may be bullied in the Northern Cold Sect and pleads with the girl to take care of her if that ever happens. In response, the girl assures him that no one will dare to bully Yi Ling in the Northern Cold Sect, warning him to mind his own business. As the girl takes Yi Ling with her, Yi Xian observes them, promising that he will definitely come to find her in the future. Yi Ling, in turn, tells her brother to take care of himself and expresses that she will miss him. In his inner thoughts, Yi Xian blames his own incompetence for the need to separate from Yi Ling. With that realization, he resolves himself to become a sword immortal. As they observe Yi Xian, Mu Yun suggests that they leave, pointing out that the people who are after them will come again. However, at this moment, Yi Xian and the rest sense something amiss, and Anji concludes that the secret realm is about to disappear, urging them to go. The four of them disappear from their previous location, only to reappear at the foot of the secret mountain. Just as Mu Yun and Bai Zhe are expressing their fear of the secret realm's instability, Anji searches the surroundings, realizing that Yi Xian is not with them. Hearing this, Bai Zhe recalls holding Yi Xian's hand just a moment ago, while Mu Yun speculates that Yi Xian might be trapped inside. Meanwhile, inside the secret cave, Yi Xian wonders where he currently is and how he got there. As his eyes wander around the cave, Yi Xian spots a figure sitting in the corner. Yi Xian questions the person's identity, and the person tells him not to panic, expressing a desire to make friends. The person reveals having witnessed several of Yi Xian's fights and acknowledges him as a skilled fighter. Yi Xian then inquires about the elder's identity and whether he was the one who brought him there. The elder replies that his identity is not important, but what matters is that they were destined to meet. Following this, the elder lists down Yi Xian's cultivation background, mentioning his broken dantian, his proficiency in both sword and martial arts, and his unique sky realm cultivation that differs from an ordinary sky realm. The elder then asks about the identity of Yi Xian's master. Yi Xian internally wonders what caused the elder to dare to inquire about his master's identity, humorously thinking about what medicine the old man might have taken. The elder assures Yi Xian that he has no ill intentions towards him and was merely curious about his master's identity, stating that it was fine if Yi Xian is not willing to talk about it. Regarding his reason for bringing Yi Xian there, the elder explains that Yi Xian is the only person he has encountered who can cultivate martial arts and swordsmanship simultaneously. The elder humbly admits that while he may lack expertise in physical body and sword cultivation, he possesses some knowledge of martial arts. With an interested smile, he offers Yi Xian a remarkable skill called the coalescence of battle intent. Excitement brimming within him, Yi Xian immediately accepts the offer, his eyes shining with anticipation of mastering this new skill. However, although intrigued by the opportunity, Yi Xian remains cautious and candidly expresses his reservations. He points out that he knows nothing about the elder's true intentions behind this generous gesture. The elder responds with wisdom, explaining that even though they are strangers, their fateful encounter was meant to be. He entrusts Yi Xian with a request to aid the Ning kingdom should any trouble arise in the future. Alarmed by the elder's words, Yi Xian's expression shifts, and he inquires whether the elder himself hails from Ning. Seemingly offended by the question, the elder inquires if Yi Xian's reluctance to accept the skill is due to his affiliation with Ning. Before Yi Xian can explain himself, the elder extends his flaming hand, urging Yi Xian to accept the gift. Directing a strong flame toward him, Yi Xian feels the intensity of the experience as the flame immediately engulfs him. The elder remarks that acquiring the coalescence of battle intent requires a resolute heart and clear thoughts. Yi Xian opens his eyes, and a burst of qi follows as he raises his sword, indicating his successful acquisition of the skill. Seeing this, the elder realizes what a genius Yi Xian is, acknowledging that he is now both a martial arts master and a sword master. After consolidating his newfound strength, Yi Xian informs the elder that his sword intent seems to have become stronger. The elder confirms that it should be the case, otherwise, his efforts would have been in vain. Then, the elder shows Yi Xian a small box, telling him to open it as it is a little gift from him. Upon receiving the box, Yi Xian's curiosity gets the better of him, and he eagerly opens it. Inside, a radiant jade plate with an intricate engraving of Sergeant catches his eye. Puzzled, Yi Xian inquires about its significance. And the elder explains that it is the Ning Kingdom's special license plate. This plate will allow Yi Xian to move freely within the Ning Kingdom in the future. The elder further explains that the plate contains a small formation called the Dragon's Formation. By using the highest quality spirit stones, Yi Xian can activate this formation to gather dragon energy. Grateful for the gift, Yi Xian thanks the elder, who bids him farewell, expressing the hope of meeting again in the future. Yi Xian agrees, looking forward to the day they might meet again. Rejoining the rest of the group, Anji questions Yi Xian's sudden disappearance. Apologizing for the delay, Yi Xian brushes off the concern, mentioning that he had some matters to attend to. Mu Yun teases Yi Xian, jokingly suggesting that Anji would have killed them if he hadn't returned promptly. Anji counters, saying that it is Yi Xian himself who is known for killing others. However, Anji's attention shifts as she shares her concerns about not being able to contact her grandfather. A sense of urgency fills the group, and they agree to leave immediately. Meanwhile, within the Grand Hall of the Kanglin Academy, Dinji offers 3 sticks of incense to a small statue of a person. Following this, an elder materializes from the statue, recognizing the use of transboundary smoke and inquiring about the situation. Dinji seeks the elder's assistance, but the elder questions him, reminding the dean of his previous departure from the main academy and his audacity to threaten the academy's president to apologize. The elder chuckles at Dinji's current predicament, comparing it to his former heroic stature and questioning where his pride and strength of character have gone. To further add to the dean's distress, the elder reveals that he has been removed from the main academy. Additionally, he warns that the Kanglin Academy has never opened a branch in Qingzhou, leaving the dean with a warning that he will not be spared if he insists on using the Kanglin Academy's name without permission. Staring at the used-up incense, Dean Ji's face reflects sadness as he quietly acknowledges the news of his expulsion from the academy. Suddenly, the hall's tranquility is shattered as a powerful force of qi obliterates the roof. Multiple figures emerge, demanding Yi Xian's presence. Realizing that Yi Xian must have succeeded in his endeavor, Dean Ji braces himself. Gathering his own qi in his hand, Dean Ji launches a formidable attack against the intruders, vowing to send them to their doom. Unscathed, the leader of the group expresses surprise at encountering someone at the peak of the Dharma realm in the humble Qingzhou. Dean Ji identifies the group as Kongmu Academy, and the leader confirms his assumption. In a swift motion, the leader vanishes from sight, reappearing in front of Dean Ji with his qi-infused hand poised to strike the dean's stomach. The leader remarks that before they can destroy the Kanglin Academy, they must eliminate the dean. Managing to create distance between himself and his assailant, Dean Ji questions the leader about hiding his true realm. In response, the elder lunges at Dean Ji, expressing his dilemma of deciding from 1,000 ways to kill him. The ensuing explosion from the impact leaves behind a massive crater, with Ding Ji lying collapsed at its center. However, just then, Yi Xian and the rest of the group arrive, witnessing the dire situation that the dean is in. The elder addresses Yi Xian, revealing that he was the one who killed Gon Shizhen, the elder's own disciple. With unwavering courage, Yi Xian confidently admits that it was indeed him. The elder observes Yi Xian's prowess and dual training in sword and martial arts, acknowledging that such a solid foundation and unique talent are rarely seen even among the most exceptional individuals in the Great Cloud Empire. Following this, the elder orders one of his disciples to avenge his fallen comrade and fight against Yi Xian. After acknowledging the elder's command, the disciple wields his dual swords, taunting Yi Xian to do his best not to lose his head too quickly. Yi Xian readies his own sword, intrigued by the fact that he can't discern the disciple's cultivation level, wondering if he's deliberately concealing it. As his swords crackle with electricity, the disciple charges at Yi Xian with ferocity. Yi Xian meets his attack head-on, resulting in a clash that shakes the ground and creates visible cracks upon their disengagement. Yi Xian observes that the disciple's cultivation path is elusive and complicated, leading him to believe that he practices various martial arts simultaneously. Unfazed by the ongoing confrontation, the disciple presses on, noting that Yi Xian's killing intent is lacking. Yi Xian confidently responds that he will take the disciple's life, channeling his determination into his fist and connecting with the guy's stomach, sending him flying back to the elder. After this display, Yi Xian questions the disciple if that fulfilled his desire for a show of killing intent. In response, the disciple voices his realization that Yi Xian is a martial arts master. Yi Xian then asks if the disciple is now afraid. The disciple retorts that there's nothing to fear, as a man should be prepared to fight to the death. However, the elder intervenes, advising the disciple not to be reckless since he is weaker than Yi Xian. With wisdom, the elder concludes that the Kongnu Academy of Jian has a strong motive to eliminate Yi Xian, recognizing him as an extremely dangerous individual who must be eradicated at all costs. With the elder's intent of sending him to hell, Yi Xian stares at the vortex forming in the sky, acknowledging the elder's strength as he witnesses the manifestation of his powerful fighting spirit. To shield Yi Xian from harm, Ding Ji stands courageously in front of him, instructing him to get out of the way. Confused, Yi Xian questions Ding Ji's decision, but the dean insists that Yi Xian must take the group and leave immediately. While Yi Xian points out Ding Ji's injury, the dean intercepts the elder's attack, insisting everyone to leave urgently. In his inner thoughts, Ding Ji acknowledges the elder's formidable skills and resolves not to let his disciples fall into the elder's hands. Impressed by Ding Ji's strength, the elder remarks that with someone as powerful as the dean, it's no wonder that the Kanglan Academy has endured for so many years, making anyone think twice before challenging him. With this conclusion, the elder throws a punch towards the dean's abdomen. However, the elder points out that his punch is not that simple, and soon it becomes apparent as the chi surrounding his fist swirls around it, inflicting even more damage to the dean. Seeing their dean in peril, Yi Xian and the others attempt to save him, but the elder's companions block their path, warning that they'll have to leave their heads behind if they want to advance. Undeterred, Yi Xian charges forward with his sword, only to deal minor damage to the shield produced by the opposing group. Just then, the dean is thrown outside the shield. Witnessing this, Yi Xian rushes to his heavily injured mentor, attempting to administer a gold sword pill to save him. However, the dean stops him, weakly remarking that he is already on the edge of death. With tears in his eyes, Yi Xian vehemently disagrees with the dean's statement, but the dean insists that he won't be able to protect them anymore. Surrounded by his disciples, Ding Ji instructs them not to cry, emphasizing that the people of Kanglan are allowed to bleed but not shed tears. He then addresses Yi Xian, urging him to take care of the rest and protect them from bullies, especially Anji. Yi Xian solemnly agrees. Ding Ji proceeds to make two final requests. First, he asks Yi Xian to ensure that the bodies of the fallen disciples are returned to the academy in the future, as it will be his responsibility as the new dean. Yi Xian firmly promises to fulfill this request. For his second request, Ding Ji reveals that he originally hails from the main academy of Kanglan in the Middle Kingdom. He expresses indifference in the academy, but admits to feeling ashamed of his master. If possible in the future, he asks Yi Xian to go to the main academy, kneel in front of his master on his behalf, and tell him that he will repay his kindness in his next life. Yi Xian accepts both requests wholeheartedly, vowing to fulfill them. In the midst of this emotional exchange, the elder approaches, remarking on the touching scene but asserting that there is no need for final words since they will all meet their end in hell. With his remaining strength, Ding Ji propels his disciples away using his qi, remarking that they are all his good disciples, showing his love and concern for them until the very end.